Hi, Deacon Richard here at St. Raphael in Our Lady of the Valley. As you can see, I'm actually not at church. I'm at home. I'm not vested in my alb, nor stole, nor am I sitting beside Father. These are troubled times. And our daily routine has been disrupted. No one can predict when we'll return to normalcy. But we are in virtual exile. We're barred from group assembly. We can't share like we have been in a very personable manner. Well, while life has really changed drastically for all of us, and no one can predict when we'll return to normalcy, the one thing that has not changed at all, is that God did not abandon us. God is still with us. God is on our side and journeying with us each step of the way. It is for us then to immerse ourselves in traveling with God through these difficult times. You know, a while ago someone referred to my Wednesday art ministry as his hobby. And while perhaps it looks like a hobby because we don't make money off of it, we're not making a living, it is more than a hobby. When we gather on those Wednesday afternoons to paint, we share, as we are a small Christian community. We share in each other's difficulties and grow spiritually over artwork. And I might say, it's a place to meet and greet God. A place to meet and greet God without getting calluses on our knees. It's really great. Now, you know, St. Luke, tradition tells us, is the author of both the gospel attributed to him as well as Acts of the Apostles. Well, also tradition says that St. Luke is the patron of artists. Not only is he credited with having painted portraits of both Jesus and Mary, but St. Luke also is most often, you know, his gospel and his Acts of the Apostles is most often used as the basis for paintings, frescoes, carvings, those things that adorned our church. Well, people of God sing. Music is art. Music is creative. God's people sing. And the role of music is biblical. If we look back in Exodus chapter 15, we have the song that the Israelites sang after they escaped from the Egyptian rulers, after they escaped and crossed the Red Sea. They sang this hymn of praise. We find it in chapter 15 of Exodus. And throughout the Old Testament, we have examples of song and dance, chanters in their worship. And of course, we can't forget the Psalms. The Psalms bear rich testimony to the joys, the sorrows, the praise and the laments that the faithful raised in their voices in song to God. Now, the congregation is always the primary choir. The choir isn't just a select group, a choral society made up of a few who have a really good voice. We are all singers, and we bring richness to our liturgies. Now, liturgy itself is an art form. It's a very creative art form in assembling not only the song, but the prayers, the environment, everything laid out in proper order to enhance our experience of being prayerful. And you know, listening to people's difficulties is an art form. To listen to people's difficulties and not carry the burden ourselves and become depressed. Listening is an art form that goes back to the very earliest of time. Listening and sharing is an important creative talent. Now, even the smallest task in our everyday life is part of joining in with God in the ongoing process of creativity. In Genesis, in the very first few pages of Scripture, we have the story of creation. God created And each day, at the end of the day, Scripture tells us, God looked and said, it is good. He created works of art. He created man and woman in his image and likeness. And God has challenged us to participate in that ongoing process of creativity. We were told to increase and multiply, fill the earth, to subdue the earth, to create and continue that ongoing process of creativity. And we do that. We do that in our everyday. And the creativity that is part of our everyday life is to experience God's creativity, to experience what God experienced when he finished the creation and said, it is good. We journey together in these difficult times. We are in isolation. However, we can find God in the very little things that go on in our everyday life. We can experience God and what God experienced in his creativity in being creative ourselves. For example, to do the Monday morning laundry, or any day of the week, to do the laundry is to create clean clothing, clean and fresh smelling clothing that is virus free. Find the joy that God experienced in creation, in creating for your family, to creating good dinners, lunches, breakfast, to create a recipe out of the scant materials that we have available today. And it's really a creative art. Experience God and God's creativity in the small things of your everyday life. And of course, keeping the kids, or for that matter, your spouse, entertained when there's so little to be entertained, so little to entertain us, is very creative. Experience God in the smallest bit of creativity that grows out of you. I'm challenging you to draw on your creative spirit. Make this journey less difficult. And then, soon, and very soon, we will sing joyful praises together in our assemblies. Thank you. Oh, the buzzer on the dryer just clicked. I have to go fold the laundry. Bye now.